Alright, let's cut the BS. Who doesn't want a six-pack abs? You know, remember when we were all those kids searching up on YouTube, either 10 minutes before a party and just bored in our bedroom? We'd be searching up how to get a six-pack in 5 minutes. We'd watch those fake clickbait YouTube videos and we thought it would actually work, but then we'd realize it was wrong. See, that's the truth. You can't get abs really fast in 5 minutes. 99% of the advice you see on YouTube is either 1, impossible, 2, unrealistic, and 3, just straight up false. Now, as someone who's been training for quite a few years now, I've always felt building abs was a pretty hard part of it. But after a lot of trial and error, you can see here, I've finally managed to build a decent set of abs and get a six-pack. So trust me, this is going to be the last video you'll ever need on how to build a six-pack. This is a complete no BS, step-by-step guide on how to finally get those abs that you've always dreamed of having. Alright, our first point on how to build a six-pack. Abs are revealed in the kitchen. Now you might have heard the phrase before, abs aren't made in the gym, they're made in the kitchen. But this is actually kind of false. Abs are made in the gym, but they're revealed in the kitchen. You get your abs to be revealed by decreasing your body fat percentage and having a good diet. So that's why first up, we're going to try and get a low body fat percentage. So to start, you got to figure out what your current body fat percentage is. You can do this by just looking up online calculators or just measuring your body. The higher your body fat percentage, the more chance your abs aren't going to show. So if you're a man and you want your abs to show well, you've got to aim for about 10 to 12% body fat. If you're a woman, then you want to aim for about 16 to 18% body fat. So what should you do if your body fat percentage is too high? You've got to go into a calorie deficit. So eating less and moving more.
Oh, but how is that gonna build me a six-pack? I want to eat McDonald's and KFC every day. I can get a six-pack another way.
Shut up. I've said it a million times before, you cannot outwork a bad diet. If your diet doesn't align with your goals, then there's no point in trying. Because trust me, eating foods like McDonald's and Pizza Hut, it's all just empty calories, so you end up eating more and more and you end up putting on weight. And then that fat, it's just gonna hide your abs. You can figure out how many calories you should be eating in a deficit by just searching up a quick online calculator. I'll leave one in the description so you can quickly just go there instead of searching one up. So for example, if your body burns 2,500 calories a day, you need to try and reduce this by about 300 to 500. So this would leave you around 2,000 to 2,200. Obviously, this depends on how much it says on your online calculator. A tip to stay consistent with this is to track what you eat each day. When I'm bulking or cutting, an app I like to use is MyFitnessPal, where I just put in what I'm eating during the day so I know how many calories I'm burning and consuming, and it aligns with my goals. It also tells you your macros, so you know how much protein, carbs, and fats you're consuming during the day as well. Speaking of macros, when you're in a calorie deficit, you also want to make sure you're getting in enough protein each day. Because we're eating less, because we're trying to get rid of the fat on our body to reveal those abs, it might also get rid of your muscle. Now, because I don't want this to happen, I track how much protein I take in each day. Now, you want to make sure you're getting about 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. So I weigh about 80 kg, so I usually aim around for about 160 grams of protein a day. Not only this, but foods with high protein are going to keep you fuller for longer, which will make it a lot easier to stay in a deficit and stop you from binge eating. Now, you don't need a perfect diet every single day. You want it most days. There's going to be days where you feel a bit stressed and you might overeat a bit, or days when you go out with your family and friends and you start to go out for meals. But you want more wins than losses. This is the key for consistency and finding that balance and making this progress of getting a six-pack a lot easier. So you want to make sure that consistency is the key here and you're making your diet sustainable enough in the long run. So that's our first point done. Your abs are revealed in the kitchen. But this will bring us on to our second point. Your abs are made in the gym. Now, when you're training your abs, you want to make sure you're working smarter, not harder. Now, you might have seen all these BS tips online and all these stupid training plans on how to get a six-pack. And soon you'll come to realize that endless crunches and planks just aren't gonna cut it. You've got to combine proper ab workouts with smart cardio to build a six-pack. Now let's think about it for a second. All the people that are already going to the gym. How do you train your muscles? Well, that's simple. You train them to failure, you use progressive overload, and you do intense workouts. But why don't you do the same for your abs? You know, they're a muscle just like anything else, so why not just train them the same way? Think about it. Do you use lightweight 2 kilogram dumbbells to try and build big biceps? Or do you use an empty bar a bunch of times to build a big chest? Then why do you do a million crunches and ab exercises with no weight, thinking that it's going to get you a six-pack? Use your brain. Incorporate the same strategies that you use with your other muscles, the same for your abs. So incorporate progressive overload with some weight, training to failure, and training with some intensity. Now, there are 3 main exercises you want to use to build a good six-pack. Now, these exercises are cable crunches, hanging leg raises, and cable twists. Now, these are the only 3 exercises you're going to need to build all the different parts of a six-pack, as long as you train consistently to failure and progressively overload the weight each week. Now, the next part of training you can incorporate is doing some smart cardio. Now, what do I mean by smart cardio? Now, smart cardio isn't this high-intensity shit that's going to burn you out and it's inconsistent. What I'm going to tell you here is the most effective way I use to burn fat and reveal my six-pack. What you want to do when you're at the gym is to go over to the treadmills. Instead of running on them as fast as you can on a flat surface, which is just boring and it's not going to work in the long run, what you want to do is set the incline quite high, up to about 8 to 10. Set the speed for about a walking pace, so maybe about 5 to 6. And just go. Just go for about 20 to 30 minutes or even longer. Not only is this a really efficient way of burning calories, but you can also keep yourself occupied whilst you're doing it to make the process a lot less boring. What I've started to do is I've started reading on my phone while I'm there. You can watch YouTube videos like this one, or even listen to a podcast or something. It's really useful. Look, I'm not bullshitting you. Next time you go to the gym, set the incline high, set the speed quite low, and just put on this video in the background, and you'll see that it actually works for burning calories. Alright, so that's our second point done. Working smarter and not harder in the gym. Well, you might think, well, that's all I need. I've got all the diet tips I need. I've got the training plan I need. I can finally get a six-pack. Wrong. If your head isn't in the game and you've got a bad mentality, you're just running off this quick boost of motivation you're getting at the start, then it's not going to work out for you. Like I said, you might not want to hear it, but getting abs isn't that easy. You can't get abs in 5 minutes like those videos told you, because it's just wrong. Getting a decent six-pack takes dedication, effort, and discipline. And if you've made it this far into the video, I think you've got the right dedication and discipline needed to get a six-pack. So don't dwell and waste any time. Start today, not tomorrow, not the day after, not next week. Start now. Implement the strategies you've heard in this video, getting into a calorie deficit, getting enough protein, and changing your training plan up so you can finally get a six-pack. It's a long process, but that process can be shortened down as long as you stay consistent. And so that sums up our third point and the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more tips on how to get a six-pack or want any personal advice, just leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Adios.